How to trust your intuitive process. Hunch, instinct, deeper knowing. There are many names for the intuitive gut feelings, or the ability to immediately understand something without conscious reasoning. In other words, answers and solutions come to you, but you may not be aware of exactly how or why. In the age of big data, trusting your gut often gets a bad rap. Intuition, the term used to refer to gut feelings in research, is frequently dismissed as mystical and unreliable. While it's true that intuition can be fallible, studies show that pairing gut feelings with analytical thinking helps you make better, faster, and more accurate decisions, and gives you more confidence in your choices than just relying on intellect alone. This is especially true when you're overthinking or when there's no signal clear-cut correct option. The science behind your gut feelings, despite popular belief, there's a deep neurological basis for intuition. Scientists call the stomach the second brain for a reason. There's a vast neural network of 100 million neurons lining your entire digestive tract. That's more neurons than are found in the spinal cord, which points to the gut's incredible processing abilities. When you approach a decision intuitively, your brain works in tandem with your gut to quickly assess all memories, past learnings, personal needs, and preferences, then makes the wisest decision given the context. In this way, intuition is a form of emotional and experiential data. Even if you're not consciously using your intuition, you still probably experience benefits from it every day. Everyone knows what it feels like to have a pit in your stomach as you weigh a decision. That's the gut talking loud and clear. Discern gut feeling from fear. Fear tends to be accompanied by bodily sensations of constricting or minimizing. You may feel tense, panicky, or desperate. Fear has a punishing energy. And if you are trying to force something or select an option because you want to avoid a threat, rejection, or punishment, fear also tends to be dominated by self-critical and thoughts that urges you to hide, conform, or compromise yourself. Start by making minor decisions. Choose an outfit that calls to you without weighing too many variables. Raise your hand and speak up in a meeting without censoring yourself. Taking quick, decisive actions with small consequences gets you comfortable using your intuition. By starting small, you mitigate feelings of overwhelm and can gradually step your way up to larger, higher pressure decisions with greater self-trust. This approach is effective because it builds your distress tolerance, or your ability to emotionally regulate in the face of discomfort. The next time you find yourself struggling to make a decision, ask yourself, which action or decision brings you closer to those core values? Going within can help dissolve the internal tension that leads to the mental loops. Take a moment today to reflect on what your top 1 to 3 values may be. The next time you find yourself struggling to make a decision, ask yourself which action or decision brings you closer to your core values. Going within can help dissolve the internal tension that leads to mental loops. Finally, keep in mind that intuition can't flourish in a busy, stressful environment. Give your mind space to wander and make connections. Remember, while intuition is not perfect, it is also a decision-making tool you're likely underutilizing at the moment. Give these strategies a try, and you'll probably be surprised to find that your gut is more powerful decision-making tool than you may have realized. Awesome!
Yeah.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway and your channel for community support, help, friendship, love, knowledge, and just plain being of value to others. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, it's always good to have you with us. If you're returning, thank you so much. We appreciate each and every one of you. And it's Friday night, and it's time to feed your mind and grow your heart.
Grow your heart.
Tonight, it's a bit mushy, but that's just me. Tonight's topic is how to trust your intuitive process. And I'd like to welcome everyone on the panel. Sophia, so good to have you with us. Dalibor, such a pleasure. Always love having you here. Queen of Courts, Karen, it's good to see you. It's been a minute, but happy you're here. Teresa, dear sister, good to have you as well. Can't do it without you. Real quick, I'd like to just give a quick hello to everybody in chat, and then we'll get started with all this. And Miss Chloe, thank you for being here. It's always lovely to see you. Jeannie Musgrave and Michael, Jeannie Griffin and Michael Musgrave, good to have you here with us as well. Smoking in G Sharp, what's up? Grumpy Stack, how you doing, handsome? I'm loving the beard. Let me tell you, he's looking great, boy. Like a completely different person, and it's amazing. Quite the transformation. You've been working hard, so congratulations for you.
Mr. Green Bean.
Yeah, Mr. Green Bean. No, he's got muscle. He works out.
I know.
I'm telling you, he's looking good.
Yeah.
Susie Q, always a pleasure to see you. Lovely to have you with us. Go, how are you, dear friend? It's good to see you as well. Dolly Belfour, how are you? I've been seeing you all in the little chat rooms that I've been visiting. So, hello, Dolly.
Welcome back.
Good to have you. I think, Julie Stowe, such a pleasure to have you as well. Always look forward to seeing you in chat. Thank you for being here. And Lucky, good to see you as well, Lucky. Yep. I think I have pretty much everybody. I don't think I missed anybody. Let me check.
Walking Water's here.
Walking Water. Good to have you with us as well. Thank you for being here. I think that's going to do it. Yep. We're looking
anybody
good.
You know, Sophie? Anybody else you know, Sophia?
They're probably going to trickle in here for too long.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna send it over to Teresa, and she can give us a little breakdown as to what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Will do. But before we begin with our introduction, we have a special request for intents, and I'll turn that over to Sophia.
Sounds good.
Yes, thank you. Jim, everybody's familiar with Jim that comes on the show from All My Relations. He is actively recovering from some pretty intense dental work.
Yeah.
So if you guys can send him some love and some healing so he can pull up faster. I just went down that road, not like that, but there's no getting around mouth pain and foot pain, and I just want him to get better real quick. So
yes, most definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got it. Sending Jim lots of love and healing and support. You got it, Jim.
And Grandpa Brian, send him some extra good intents because he's been helping out with leading the groups in Jim's absence. Jim has Grandpa Brian working up the shop there. So
yeah,
good.
We really appreciate it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm so glad you made it tonight, Karen, because Karen has between Karen and Lori and Sophia and Dalibor, there's going to be a dynamite discussion because we covered a little bit about this topic last year with Ken. And we brought Ken on for his YouTube debut. It was his first time on YouTube when we talked about trusting your intuition. But tonight, as you could see from the opening video, we're getting a little bit more into a deeper level here. So I wanted to start out with a reading here from the Toltec legacy, because the Toltec spiritual practices really explain how to work with your intuition and what it is we're really tapping into. Is it our gut instinct? Yeah. Is it biological and physiological? That's part of it, but there's a very deep spiritual meaning behind it as well. And it all is interrelated. It's been said that the Toltec spiritual practice is a warrior's path, where one goes from being a victim at the mercy of what happens around us to becoming a victor, through taking full responsibility for our own lives and working with our challenges to strengthen ourselves. Part of the path is learning to re embody and re own our repressed feelings and emotions, using feelings and intuition as a guide for our lives. One also learns how to change and dismantle one's view of the world. We will revisit tonight just what our intuition really is, who or what it is that we're tapping into, the science behind our inner workings and physical body, and how we can transform to manifest our creations in ways that serve our higher good and purpose in this life, here and now. So that's the takeaway for tonight, and we hope you enjoy the conversation. Feel free to join in the chat room. All right,
Please
Lori,
do.
I'll bounce it back to you.
Well, we're here talking about intuition tonight, and I kind of wanted to get each and every panelist perception and knowing about what intuition is for them. And I'd really like to start with Sophia tonight. Sophia, the question is, how do you use your intuition, but also how do you label intuition in your mind?
Um, wow. Okay. So I am what you would call an in the moment intuitive, among other gifts that I've turned into a blessing because it used to be a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say I don't know really how to develop it because it's always been developed, but I do believe that that gift comes with maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Example, universal or natural law, if you will, staying in balance and just being mindful of your thoughts, where you
Mm-hmm.
go, what your intention is. I think that kind of plays into the intuition and how I use it and maintain it. I don't know, maybe I missed the question because I'm kind of nervous tonight for some
Oh,
reason.
you're just fine. I just was wondering what your interpretation was, or your belief system as to how you use it. How do you trust it? What's your process with your own intuition? Let me put it that maybe that's a better question
Okay.
for you.
Okay. I got
Okay.
something for that. Okay.
Okay.
So I used my intuition as a coping skill because being a gifted child, I would use my intuition or my gut feeling, like you said in the introduction, to navigate life to who is friend, who is foe, who is telling the truth, who is being deceptive. That's how I began to use it before I even knew what it was, because
Mm.
I thought everybody was able to do what I was doing. Um,
That's funny. You hear that a lot with psychics,
Yeah.
especially psychics who have had this ability since they were children. And they all say the same thing. Doesn't everybody do this? Doesn't everybody have it? And then they have to
yeah,
learn that they don't. And that just fascinates me.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was shocked. I didn't really figure out that until I was in school, so like 5 and 6, when I started to hide things.
Hmm.
Um, when I realized that it wasn't, normal. Throw that
Hmm.
word out there,
Hmm.
but
So it's
um,
not just being intuitive, but it's also using the intuitive abilities as well.
yeah, I think intuition and psychic are not the same. It's
No.
like they're in the same book, but not the
Hmm.
same chapter.
You use the intuition
Yeah,
for your psychic abilities.
yeah. I think our guides and our ancestors help with the intuition because they're generally the ones that'll keep us out of harm's way. So, for instance, like in traffic, I get a gut feeling when somebody's going to cut me off, and
Hmm.
I believe I get that gut feeling not only from my higher self, but from my ancestors that walk with all of us, whether we
Hmm.
acknowledge them or not, and our guides, whether we use them or not,
Hmm.
because they want what's best for us. And if we're in harm's way or making a poor decision that's going to hurt us in the end, I think that's where the gut feeling comes from, the intuition, to be able to
Hmm.
intuit a better path, or hey, maybe you should do it differently. I
Yeah.
guess that's what I have.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then, Karen, how about you? How do you trust your intuitive process? And I know you're very intuitive.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Oh, hello everybody. So, uh, it's such a process actually. It's interesting that Teresa would mention and talk about the Toltec path and their belief system because it happens to be my background in learning from over 30 years, and actually, and it, it really came together on quite an adventure in the Central American jungles and with Toltec medicine man, shaman from the mountains that ended up interacting with me. So that's where my knowledge and background, a big part of it came, and journeys like that. So what I was taught, and it is all based on frequency and energy and vibration, as far as each individual, and raising your energy to a certain frequency to see, it's called, as a Toltec. So what we do is they want you to see that which is unseen in this realm, in this spectrum, right?
Yeah.
So you want to gain a further, broader aspect of the spectrums that most people do not see.
Right.
That, and this is where all the most supernatural and all kinds of things come from in that way. So on the journey, and it, times to see is to learn how to see the energetic system that we are living within. And when you get to that point in energy, and you go through periods up and down with that, like the journey of life, you can't consistently be there all the time. I don't think you vibrate at a certain frequency constantly. It's very difficult to get to that level. But you end up seeing people as energetic eggs, actually. And very vibrant. It's, people's auras in layers and layers and layers, like an onion, and and depend, when you depend on people. And actually, people do have different shapes when you can shift to see. It's called shifting. When you use your energy to see, and actually, you can tell that's how people that are healers can actually intuitively feel and see. Sometimes people's shapes are different depending. You can have mushroom shapes and other shapes that are ill-formed depending on holes in their energetic fields or illnesses or different things within their vibrations. So within this is really kind of really important, our fields and with our energetic eggs, it's very important, and about the gut. Because think of it, we are tied when we're created with our umbilical cords, right? And that's how we're fed and energy until we're born, right? And have our belly buttons, that whole energy center where everything happens.
Solar plexus.
Oh, yes, your solar plexus. But believe it or not, energetically, in that energy field, it's still there. And through your energetic, which is called your assemblage point. So the Toltecs call that still in that energetic layer, your assemblage point. It's still there. That ties your whole energetic shell. And that's the thread that ties to your higher self and the whole grid pattern. And that's how we connect everybody energetically and move along our energy system, if you can see it and shift. So, we're energetically tied with each of our energetic eggs with our assemblage point and that thread of energy that comes out within our shell and into our grid and in each other.
Yep.
So
that's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because your animals, like cats and dogs, they see your energy first before they even look at you.
Oh yeah, and feel it and
everything. And so they're using their intuition as well. So first and foremost before they do anything else. So that goes in line with the humans' aura.
And how we feel. How we feel is everything. It's just not animals. It's plants. It's everything. It's everything crystals. How we tie energetically into everything in this reality, and that's how we feel everything. So just one more point about how I use it and how I learned and how to move along the lines and everything. So yes, of course, we feel everything through our gut, intuitively, everything, and what we're doing with our layers of energy that holds all of our actual memories, like a computer for all of our lives, all of our sojourns on this earth or wherever, and it is contains our akashic records. It's held within all of our layers of these energy rings, are like our aura within. That's where everything is. And so, as a Toltec warrior, what you learn to do is to access all of this information. So if that's because that's you learn where there is no time, because it's all there in the now. And so what you learn to do is have the energy to move your assemblage point to different areas within your energetic egg, which is like a computer, and you can go to anywhere in the past, present, and future, and collect and know and remember. It's a remembering process of who you are, and knowing all of your past lives. And this is where our deja vu feelings of, where it leaks through, where we have the remembrance
That
of
bleed
things
through.
and that bleed through. And
Yeah.
everybody knows all about all that stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where our intuitive and our feelings, and why the gut is so important. It is the main thing, just like your intro you did, Lori. So yeah, I gain all my intuitive skills by learning that process and using my gut to gauge everything, because I use it to feel the whole world.
Yep. And it serves you well, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Awesome.
creates my reality. Yeah.
Yes. How about you, Dalibor? How do you trust your intuitive process?
Well, first of all, I would define intuition. What is intuition? Intuition is the highest form of wisdom. And I would say, well, more specifically, it's the highest form of intelligence there is. Because intelligence and wisdom, as we know, are two different things. What intuition does is it integrates, just like Karen pointed out, the different aspects of your personalities, specifically mental realm or mental body, the physical body, the instincts that are like inborn intelligence that also are an aspect of intuition. And the fact of the matter is that most people don't use their intuition because they've been trained not to. They've been trained to let their intelligence take over instead of their intuition, which is learned knowledge, which tells them to ignore their gut feelings, ignore their visceral reactions and preferences, and instead, you know, go based on what they've been taught in school. Whereas, a person who's truly intuitive or truly wise is always going to go by what the situation tells him, specifically, not generally. Specifically, okay, how do I feel about this particular situation? I've used my intuition to make, well, without overstating it, uh, quite a bit of money. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, definitely. Because if you don't have that, you can be the best accountant there is, but if you're looking at a financial statement of a company, and those numbers happen to be fraudulent, and you don't have any intuition, you're not going to start looking into, like, okay, what's the source of this data? How do I know I can trust this? Um, in other words, you know, intuition won't necessarily give you every answer, but it will give you the tools necessary to ask the right questions.
Right. Plus,
And if you don't have intuition, a very good way to acquire it artificially is to just get animals. Because if you live with an animal like I've done for most of my life, specifically rabbits, guinea pigs, animals like that, they can tell, like, if a person who's visiting you is a good person, they know right off the bat. And they serve more or less as a confirmation of whether or not you yourself are on the right track or not.
So, Dalibor, how do you trust that? I know a lot of people that are watching are probably asking, yeah, that's all great and everything, but how do I trust my intuition? How do
Yeah,
I
that's uh, that
know it's right? And
that's a
what would you say?
very that's a very good question, and I don't think there is any correct answer. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people have intuition, but a lot of people, like I said, have that as a vestigial skill. So
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I use uh, letter cards. I draw cards. I use a pendulum. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much a way to amplify that natural intuition and make it
Mm-hmm.
manifest to to yourself if you're not already in tune with it. In other
Yeah.
words, it'll serve as like a magnifying glass to whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that makes any
Definitely.
Yeah,
sense.
I'd
It
like to.
does.
Yeah, I'll say something too. Just with everybody, it's look at how many times people have that gut feeling or that intuitive feeling of making a decision, and it's called second guessing yourself. And most people second guess themselves in about a decision and then go back and say, I wish I hadn't, because it's just a matter of the whole process. And everybody can confirm about trusting yourself and getting to know to trust the feelings and trust the signs and the signals. And that, that's a gauge, and you get to do that, more and more. And if you start watching, you can even test yourself to see when that happens, because you always go back and say, oh, I should have just gone with my first feelings or my first thing,
Sophia?
Yeah, I agree with Karen. I was going down that road. That was kind of cool. She picked up on that. But I would say the way that I did it was journaling. So with intuition, with precognition, things like that, to build trust in, it's a skill to build it, writing it down. So when you get the foreboding or, things like that, a feeling, it doesn't have to be a dissertation. It can be, a word, just as long as you put a date on it. That way, when, something happens, you'd be like, wait a minute, and you can go to your journal. Or if you're lucky enough to have a trusted friend, a sincere friend, an awake friend,
Yes.
and you can use each other. If you have an experience, you can talk to them, or if they, to validate each other and to build a precious relationship based, in spirit and not just the physical realm. It's rare and it's precious. And I love having friends that you can talk to on such a higher level. They're
No
very
doubt
important.
about it.
Very
Rare
important.
and far and in between.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
precious. Yeah. Well, Teresa.
I just have a question for
Okay.
Sophia too. But Teresa, after Teresa, it's something for
Okay.
Sophia after.
Okay. Actually, Teresa, I would really like it if you would answer Gogo's question, because
Yes,
you
I
can
would like
handle
to.
that. Excellent. I didn't want to
Yes.
go past that tonight.
That's why I
and
was
not get to
waving my
his-
hand.
Yes. That's why it's up there. So go
He
for it.
asked, Gogo asked earlier. So I would have to say absolutely positively, Gogo. When you're, for me, Lori and I have been talking about this. Intuition to me is my higher self in all aspects of self. From every lifetime I've ever lived, it's the all consciousness. It's part of the God source within me. So when I'm doing card readings or readings for people, or I have a message download that I've been given from one of my guides for someone else, I'm using, that is my intuition that's talking to me. It's not like it's an external being from another planet. Some people have that. With me, it's that connection with source energy and all the essence of all the angel guides that come to me and talk to me. And when I'm doing a card reading, it's not just a pull from the deck. Anybody can pull a card from a
That's
deck and
right.
read the description on the card.
That's right.
That's
What's
right.
usually happening with me is that I'm getting messages, like, especially if I have a connection with somebody in the chat room, like Barry Chad, it's off the charts. So it's like I always kind of know pretty much what Barry's needing, or even Doug, or because of my connection with people. So my guides will help me to bring a message to them through the cards. The cards are just a guide for the general conversation, but there's usually a buried message in there. And I trust myself enough, my intuition enough, to be able to speak it and not hold back,
See,
not hold back.
I would answer Gogo's question the following way. If you're using any kind of cards like that, like tarot cards or angel cards or elemental cards or whatever, usually those come with some sort of little booklet or a little manual. The first thing you got to do is take that little manual and throw it out. Okay.
If you want to be intuitive, yeah.
If you want to be
Tear it up.
intuitive,
Tear it up.
I'm gonna answer volleyball.
You see what he's
because
saying.
that's what I mean by using
Yeah.
your gut intuition. What are those cards saying to you? What is the symbol of like a bare-chested woman holding a pair of scales and a sword in her hand? What does that mean to you? Okay, regardless of what the book says or what the little
Right.
pamphlet inside says it should mean. No, what does it mean to you? And how would you interpret that in the context of those other cards? Okay, this card is to the left of this card is above this card, below this card, and you got to put it together yourself and some kind make like a simple story out of the cards as you lay them out in front of you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, when I pull a card, I definitely get a vibe on it. And I know the one that feels right and I know the one that doesn't. It's just for me, it's a knowing. Highly intuitive. I pick up on the energy and I can feel it. I just feel it with every fiber of my being. And that's the card I pull. If it feels right, that's the one I use. Karen, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, yeah, when you get to really trust and know your intuitive capabilities and powers, believe it or not, it doesn't matter the tool in your hand, because it's more like Teresa says, a direct intuition download. It's there already, and it's kind of, it doesn't matter if then you're using a crystal ball, if you're using runes, it doesn't matter what you're using. I guess it's go because it's your intuitive powers, and that just ends up being something in the front that you just show people because it's coming through.
It feels magnetic to me.
Yeah. So in other words, it doesn't matter if you're using a stack of rubber bands of different colors, a piece of chewing gum,
it's all coming through you.
Of you.
That's a tool, but it's all, you're the one that is channeling that energy. You're the one that's pulling that into the now.
And where it comes from, I'll just finish how to connect it always. It comes from your, like I said, that energetic field that makes up your energetic layers. All that information is coming through there too, and through, believe it or not, through your assemblage point. It's all connected there, and that's why you get that feeling and that gut feeling and all that stuff that for the intuitiveness and whether things and the fight and flight and everything, and that's why that assembly point and why it's so powerful, and why as a warrior you get to know how to control that and use that and be able to really build on that.
Yeah,
your powers.
the stomach really is the second brain. It's the same material that your brain is made of,
and the heart.
And the heart, correct, very correct. Yeah, and to me, that's the Trinity. In my mind, that would be the Trinity.
Definitely, because for example, when they did like the various tests for psychic powers that they did at Princeton University, they were showing the test subjects a series of images, and they discovered that a half a second before they showed a traumatic image, that the person's heart rate would increase. So in other words, your heart actually knew which image was going to come up before your brain did, before the brain waves registered.
I agree with that.
Because electrical capacity of the heart, right, to send the signals, right? Wow. Okay. I had a question for Sophia because I never really thought about it, Sophia, just about you being born and so open, like for you, like as soon as you were born, and it really had, you right from that time because you were so young and it was always there for you. Is it possible, because I never thought about it then, the way I was describing it is that you were born with the capacity of your assemblage point to move freely within your energetic fields and layers and have access to that because it all comes out through the top to your higher self. So it's an open connection and a more free-flowing, energetic, intuitive, and it's there, which is scary and frightening because I'm just asking you as a child, you have all this knowledge and images and knowing at your fingertips because you have that free flow. I think children do anyways, and it starts getting hardened by programming. I'm just throwing that out there because you've been so young and being aware of it. Would that make sense to you?
I follow you. I would say that being a somewhat rebellious individual and not receiving what I experienced is not absolute truth, which is when people tell you stop using your imagination. You know, when they try to control you, because I have not and never will be controlled by anybody but
That's right.
source
Mhm.
with
That's the
great needs
programming
and
that they
healthy
start.
boundaries.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's right.
And I was blessed enough to be able to stay in that power, but I'm on a very high frequency this evening, so forgive me
Oh
if
yeah.
I meander. Um,
Oh, you're fine.
Mm-mm.
um, I
You're
would
all right.
say
You're
my
good.
thank you. I would say my abilities have gone through phases. Before I went into school, parochial school, um, I would see more. But when I realized that my reception to the information I was bringing forward was causing a negative feedback, that I stopped
Hmm.
using that, and the full body apparitions that I would see as a child stopped, because when I realized that nobody else could do it, I'm like, well, then something's wrong with me.
Right.
But I
Hmm.
That's the
believe that
Yep.
programming.
everybody has the
Mm-hmm.
ability
And they
to do
do.
this.
They
Everybody
do.
is
Yeah.
psychic.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
Every human being.
I wanted to touch on something earlier when you're talking about the gut. Okay.
Hmm.
So the gut, the sacral chakra, is ruled by water, which is
Hmm.
feeling. So I would say that's why the gut feeling is, because that's the energy center along with the heart. I do receive that as well, because that's the between the lower and the higher chakras. But I just wanted to add that before we got too far away from it, that I feel that since the sacral chakra is ruled by the element of water, which is feeling, which is intuition, that's why we need to listen to our gut, because that's that chakra doing its job.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
actually, Sophia, you answered my question, I think, because you said the
Cool.
same thing. So I think, well, no, like you say, everybody's born with that open connection, and that your
Yeah.
assemblage point being able
Hmm.
to move freely within your own Akashic records and memories and all your your connection to your higher self, and why children are like that. And as you get programmed from your environment and parents, it gets hardened, and then your assemblage point gets stuck and doesn't move, right? You get stuck in the same pad, being only having access to certain programs or certain scripts or certain areas of your own database or computer of all your memories and everything. So we lose that, I think, as we age. Then that's the whole thing. That's why children are so different and so magical and intuitive and free. So yeah. So, and like, because you were so stubborn, right? Like you say, you couldn't be deprogrammed, and so your assemblage point never got stuck. It's always flowed freely.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
would say people
maybe.
that are very gifted, um, I don't want to get down too far and away from the topic of the subject, but my struggle with my gifts was being different, because our culture is, most cultures
Yeah.
now are not conducive to encouraging the
Hmm.
use of gifts, and it's
Hmm.
actually the opposite.
Hmm.
And when you are extremely gifted and you keep getting told that something's wrong with you or you don't
Hmm.
fit in, you end up being ostracized like I
Hmm.
was, or getting to the point to where being around other people was so uncomfortable that I would isolate. So I had to throw
Right.
that in there. And
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
See,
the
I like
the
And
that.
we're not
the
off topic,
angst.
because think about how that's related, because we're talking about that is intuitiveness. That is what they want to get rid of, is that magic and that automatic connection that
So they
does
can
it
control.
exactly. Your
Mhm.
gifts, you see. That is
see.
intuitiveness, that
Mm.
Mhm.
magic.
Yeah.
I think in my situation, the reason why I don't use more of my intuition is out of ethical concerns. Because I've discovered that in times past when I have used my intuition, it's been 100% spot on.
Mm,
And in some cases, in situations where that meant me making a lot of money, that also meant somebody losing a lot of money. That is the reason why I keep this particular gold chain necklace right on my keyboard here, so I look at it every single day. Because one time I was just what the hell, playing around with the pendulum, and I was going through eBay auctions for gold-plated necklaces, and I asked the question, is there a gold-plated necklace here that's mislabeled, that's actually gold? And it gave me a clear yes. So I went down the line and I found it, and I bought it for €1. Okay,
Oh my goodness.
this necklace, yeah, this necklace is actually 585 gold, and it's worth about $2,000.
Wow.
And I didn't know that until I received it, of course, that it's real gold and not
Yeah.
gold plated.
Wow.
So I felt kind of bad. I'm like, all right, I just ripped somebody off for $2,000, and is there an ethical consideration here? Because the person obviously didn't know that they were selling a real gold necklace or not. And I was like, well, in the higher scheme of things, I probably should keep it, So subsequent trials of the same exact thing, where I would go down a list of auctions with the pendulum, and there's a lot of them, of course. I
Wait,
made two or three other attempts, and they were all unsuccessful.
Say what?
They were all
And Laurie's
unsuccessful.
saying, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
No. All I was going to say was, how do you know if the guy or whoever sold that
The necklace.
gold necklace to you, how do you know that maybe it wasn't taken from someone else, or so there wouldn't be
Yes.
any reason to
Yeah.
have any
Yeah.
kind of moral.
Yeah, you don't know exactly how that
yeah.
person acquired it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's all
not
I was
only
saying.
that,
In other words,
not only
yeah.
that, Lori's correct. By that, you acquiring that necklace from somebody else, the necklace acquired by somebody else could have caused such horrors or situations in that other person's life about this gold necklace in some situation. Don't know that that you might have saved somebody from some kind of thing instead too.
That was my
Either way.
reasoning as well. Yeah, that was
Oh,
also
see?
my intuitive feeling, because I was like, okay, maybe there's a higher wisdom here at play.
Yeah.
It's not just my
There, that's
own
what I'm trying to
will.
say. Yeah.
And that, on a higher level, I probably did the right thing, but it did still, bring up these ethical considerations. So when I tried it on subsequent occasions, I was unsuccessful. And I was thinking to myself, maybe that's just self-sabotage, because I don't want to be successful at this. I don't want to make money in this particular,
You want it to be ethical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that was important to you. And that makes a lot of sense too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
Teresa.
that's-
I just
Cool,
wanted to
Delbor.
follow. That's so cool, Delbor. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
That was
Yeah.
awesome. I just wanted to follow up on something Scotty said. And he made a comment a little while ago that
boy.
he puts himself into situations to test his intuition. There's something to be said for that, because up until, a couple months ago, I was still running and hightailing it. When a difficult decision came my way, I trust my intuition on certain simple things, but when it comes to some really complex things that could end me up in the soup, I'll say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then I told Lori earlier before the show, my guides had sent me this image. They thought I could understand of the old cartoon where you have the devil sitting on one side of your shoulder and the angel on the other. And the devil's whispering in your ear, do it, do it, do it. You really want this. You want it right now. You want it now. You want instant gratification. And then you've got the angel sitting on your other shoulder saying, now look, chill, trust the universe, go with the flow, take your time. You don't want to put yourself into something that doesn't serve you. So there's this process that goes on inside internally. And it's like, I don't always know sometimes which one is leading me, because I wasn't thinking it was the trickster, but your own thoughts can lead you astray or lead you. So I've been actually putting myself in situations where I'm going to actually tackle this. I'm not going to run from it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to face it. And I'm going to make a damn decision. It's going to be the best decision I can. And then I tap into my guides and I go, okay, what's the best choice for me at this time, given what I know? And I trust that whatever they come back at me with, that little angel that's talking to me in my ear, that's me. That's my higher self telling me, go ahead and do this. And
Mhm.
it might not be exactly what I think it is, but 9 times out of 10, what so far is that it's something that comes really close to
Mm-hmm.
being something that I needed, as opposed to the quick fix. So there's something to be said for practicing, for putting yourself in situations where you
Mhm.
just say, okay, it doesn't have to be something major like a major life-changing event, but it could be small decisions until you get to know yourself, know
Mm-hmm. And
thyself,
start trusting it.
and
Yeah.
start trusting that, hey, that
Mm-hmm.
worked out okay. It wasn't
Mhm.
exactly the way, but it okay. Next
Mm-hmm.
one, next challenge that comes
Yeah.
along. You just keep doing that until you eventually trust. It's just like you're having a relationship with a potential partner or a
Mm-hmm.
best friend. Do I really
That's
trust this
true.
person to share this? Do I
Right.
really want? So you treat your guide like a friend, like Sophia was saying, and
Mhm.
and Lori, my God, she kids around with her guides. She jokes around with her guides like,
Keep it healthy, right?
We have
yeah,
fun. We have
they have
fun.
Yeah.
fun, and they
I
and
have
they
a
and
friendship with my guide.
yeah,
Me, it's for Gemini. It's just talking to myself constantly.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
out loud.
Yeah.
I have
yeah.
conversations with
I
I
have
talk to myself.
conversations with myself too.
Oh, that's there's no better person to talk to than yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yes, but it's just learning how to, you take it baby steps. Do a little bit each day until
Practice.
it practice make, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like a
Yeah,
muscle that you
practice.
practice over and over
Mm-hmm.
until you learn how to differentiate between what's a good voice for you and what
Mm-hmm.
isn't for you. And usually when other things are coming in, they're trying to I had this terrible thought a little over a month ago. I knew something was coming. I knew something was coming, and my guides warned me
Mm-hmm.
about a week ago, wasn't it, Lori? They warned me,
Mm-hmm.
you've got some more challenges coming. I'm like, oh, come on,
Yeah.
I'm this close,
Oh yeah.
and they're
Mm-hmm.
preparing me
Yep.
without. They don't have a crystal ball either, so it's not like
Mm-hmm.
they know every little thing that's going to happen,
Well,
but
they're
they
working
know,
with your higher self as well.
yeah,
Know that. They
yeah.
work with your higher self in the other realm.
So they
And
were working with me and preparing me.
yeah.
And sure
Mm-hmm.
enough, I found out some things. I'm like, oh, I got to deal with this. But it's like now, it's like, okay, that sensation went away within seconds, whereas a couple of months ago, I would have run like hell from it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm facing things now with a little bit more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And the confidence is really cool because I now know things work out in mysterious ways. Things come from other
You
people as
trust it.
gifts,
Yeah.
You
or
trust it.
or somebody sends you
Mm-hmm.
something. I mean, yeah, you just
So
have to trust your,
yeah, trust and believe. Let your conscience be your
yeah,
guide. Kind of like the Jiminy Cricket, the Disney thing. Remember that in school? Jiminy
Hmm.
Cricket on your
yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah.
Let your con.
Hey,
Okay.
Desert Rose, I'm 62, honey. So I hear you loud and clear. And
Yeah.
it's been a long journey, but more and more, I'm getting more and more confident. Um, and it's recognizing. I think part of this, Karen and Sophia and Dalibor, it's recognizing that even though it's not perfect, even though it might not be what you visualized completely, um, the outcome is still very positive and it's very close to what you wanted. So rather than sitting back
Mhm.
going, I didn't get what I wanted, I hate you, universe, you're mean to
Hmm.
me, instead,
Yeah.
or saying to my guys, I'm not talking to you anymore, you
In other
misled
words,
me, you
in other
know.
words, you don't necessarily get what you want, but you get what you need.
Well,
And
the
always
key.
Yeah,
ask
there's a song
what's
about
best for
that.
Well,
me and
It's the
everyone involved.
the
wants versus needs.
yeah,
Yeah.
the key thing that Teresa that stood out for me was the act of making the decision. That
Yes.
Mhm.
was the thing. It was the act of making the decision that set it in the process of the universe to have
Yeah.
at least an outcome that she has decided, and not just
Right.
leaving it to
Mhm.
Right.
whatever to make
Right.
an outcome.
Go ahead,
Sophia
Sophia.
wants to, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I would say when we get certain intuition, we're responsible for our thoughts and our
Mm-hmm.
reaction and what
Mm-hmm.
kind of what do we want to see come down. The pike in front of us is a lot, in my opinion, in our control. I mean, there are things that are out of our control, but our
Right.
response, our vibration, reaching out to people for support, navigating difficult situations as a team,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do with a situation because thoughts are things.
That's
It's
right.
a
Oh,
sword.
yeah.
That's where it starts. And and I've told my guides and explicitive because I didn't get what I
I feel
wanted.
that. I
I
feel
have
that.
too. I
But
cussed
I
him
have
out.
too.
I have
it
too.
did not
Mhm.
serve me
No,
to
it
Mm.
never
do
does,
that.
it?
I mean,
Mhm.
if you want to win the ball game, don't
Yeah.
leave your MVP in the dugout. Be like, okay, fine. This is,
Yeah.
a proverbial whatever sandwich. You've been around
just
for
get-
however long. Let's
Mhm.
figure it out together and make the best of it.
Yeah.
I
We're
just got
down
the
here.
image, Sophia, of
Oh,
Sylvester
no.
the cat banging his head against a pole.
Mhm.
Because that's what you're doing when you cuss your guides out. You're banging yourself in the head.
We're humans, so we need
Yeah.
to give ourselves a little bit
Oh,
of
look, the
room.
humans being
Yeah.
human again.
Right. I'm of a firm conviction we're down here to humor the higher powers sometimes.
Oh,
And
good
sometimes
point.
I think they
Yes.
throw us curveballs
Yes,
just to
they
see what
do.
we're going to do with it. Did we learn from our previous experience, or do we need another T-shirt in our closet that looks the
Mhm.
same?
Mhm.
And that's how I look at it. And when heavy things happen, realizing that you're not in it alone, and take your moment to respond however you want to, but
Mhm.
you don't
And-
have to camp there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
don't
take
have to get
responsibility
stuck.
for it. Take
Right.
full responsibility for
Own
your
it.
thoughts,
Mhm.
your
Own it.
actions. Yeah.
Yes.
Own it.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I'm a
Yep.
sovereign being, That's
Yeah.
how I
Full and
roll.
complete.
And Dolly,
That's right.
Dolly, you're so right. When I
Mm.
wiped out, I felt so abandoned, but I finally realized it was my decision. That's the key to this. It's like once you realize and step up and admit it's not anybody else's fault. You had a
Mhm.
choice,
Yep.
and you own it.
Mhm.
That's a way of self-empowerment too.
Absolutely.
Because you learn from that, you go, okay, I'm not going to be so quick to do that the next time.
Mm-hmm.
So
How did I
I'm-
create the situation? What did I
Mhm.
do to make these choices? Go ahead.
Right.
Sophia.
The other thing is that, and this was very, very helpful for me and profound when I applied it. Just because, some people can give a compliment, but they're not very good at receiving it.
Mhm.
Okay. So you can reject a compliment, but you'll receive an insult.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
every single good,
Mhm.
bad, and indifferent, there should be a speed bump. Give yourself a second to process it before you react. Because
Right. And
it's
try.
like you can't take it back once you say it or do
Right.
it.
Right.
Right.
And
And always return the compliment.
Yeah.
Just return the compliment is the best thing you can do.
Or, old school, bless your heart.
Yeah.
Get back with you on that.
Mhm.
And let them think about what come out of their mouth, because a lot of people are on a rinse repeat. And it's like,
Yes.
excuse me, your poor
Yeah.
decision said what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh,
let
and
them
that's
sit in it.
Yeah.
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 Yep. Because
Mhm.
that's theirs and not yours.
Mhm.
You're in control of what you're saying and doing and what comes into your now. As a sovereign being, you have full and complete and total power over that.
The
And no one
narcissist will run
absolutely.
immediately. Though, this one can't be
Absolutely.
manipulated as easily as that one.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry, Lori, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
I've witnessed
Wound
that
up.
and I've had that happen to me many times. Absolutely.
Oh, and Doug,
Doug,
That's
you're
me.
uncomfortable with compliments?
Say thank you.
Being
That's
un-
it. And
being
return the compliment.
uncomfortable, being
Thanks.
uncomfortable with compliments,
Mhm.
Yeah.
being uncomfortable accepting gifts from people,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
being uncomfortable when someone does you a favor. These
Mhm.
are all stemming
Mhm.
from a type of programming in
Yep.
in one's life where you're made to feel not worthy of those
Right.
things.
Yeah.
And now that you're more in
Self-worth.
tap,
Mhm.
more
Issues.
self-aware,
Yep.
you have developed more self-worth, so it should get easier and easier to do.
Well,
And consider everything a blessing from the universe when that happens.
bringing that back around to that golden necklace. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what if that is a thank you, or what if that is a reciprocation of something that where I was cheated? And about 10 years before that, I had been cheated of a couple of $1,000s by having bought a gold coin on eBay that turned out to be fake. There was nothing I could do about it. I contacted the police, the whole 9 yards. and never got my money back. So
Yeah.
what if this was like the universe's way of saying, okay, here's your money back.
Mhm.
It's not going to be a 4 ducat Austro-Hungarian gold coin, but it's going to be a necklace.
Mhm. Right.
See what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's funny how the universe
Oh yeah, I
works.
agree
You
with
know,
Yeah.
when you're out there
Yeah.
and you're putting yourself out there, Doug, and others, um, just being you, being your authentic self, and just helping others, and they see the results of what you're doing, and so you become a beacon, a poster boy, a sign, a billboard,
Hmm.
and you're going to get compliments from people because they're connecting with you because they're recognizing that light in you now.
Mhm.
And so you're lifting them up and giving them hope. Every time Lori goes through something, or Brian, or anybody in our community that I'm close enough to know about things, every time somebody else goes through something and comes out of it, I learn through the observation and the interaction. And it gives me encouragement, it gives me hope, and it lifts me up, and it
Mhm.
makes me realize anything's possible.
It
That's
is.
right.
And
Mhm.
so when people look at
Yeah.
your situation, Doug, from your decisions to going into business, the troubles you had at first and challenges with those businesses, your weight control, everything has all turned out for you in the best possible way. So you're now a beacon for others,
That's
and
right.
that you'll be getting those compliments. Enjoy them,
Mhm. You
absorb
earned
them,
it.
because
Pay
you
it
earned it,
forward.
buddy.
Pay it
Mhm.
forward. Keep
That's
it
it.
going. Lift each other up.
Yep.
Find your
Yeah.
tribe. Bring it
Yeah.
health.
That's right.
Hmm.
He
Keep
says,
it
"I'm
healthy.
grateful, and I don't see how much I have done. I don't see myself as an inspiration." Well, you are.
Yeah,
And
you
just
are.
You
because you
are.
don't see it doesn't mean other people
And
don't
if
see
you
it
do come
either.
up with a platform to share those stories and successes and what you're doing, like we're going to talk about this weekend, you'll start to realize it even more, and then you'll get this really great feeling. I'm telling you right now, good things are coming your way.
Mhm.
Really
Just
good
be
things.
open to it and accept it and be in
Yeah.
the allowance mode. Sophia?
I would say I struggled for a very, very, very long time receiving compliments. I could give love, I could give a
Mhm.
compliment, but I couldn't
Mhm.
receive the compliment. And what I
Yeah.
did, because I got sick of it, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm X amount years old. This should not be a problem because
Mhm.
my trauma was in the past.
Mhm.
But focusing on the heart chakra, you know because if you're having trouble receiving a compliment, it's generally because there's something that happened that needs to be looked at and released. And
Yes.
once you release it, you replace it. Anything you release, I don't care if it's a splinter,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
need to replace it with something to maintain the balance. So if you're like, oh, I release it, and 2 days it comes back, because you didn't replace it. Will come back if you don't replace it with something. And I
Hmm.
always, 90% of the time, when I remove something, I replace it with the highest vibration, and that is love. Period. Love, because it's like a white candle. It'll be whatever it needs to be.
Mhm.
That's right. And for Scotty Boy, what is your superpower? Well, there you go. There's Desert Rose's answer.
Yep.
And I can't think of a single person in this tribe who wouldn't agree.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have had
Hmm.
some down freaking days. Like, can you get rid of that? Let's see. I've had some really down days where I've gone into chat rooms kind of bummed out, and there's Scotty Boy, you know, and it just lifts my heart. So
Yeah.
that's one of your many gifts. I'm sure you have many others, Scotty, but
Yep. No
it's your
doubt about
ability
it.
to take a negative and flip it into a positive using humor.
Absolutely. He does
Art
that every
form.
single time.
Using
Yeah.
humor.
Mhm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We need more
High
of that in
vibe.
this world.
High
No
vibe.
doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Well,
Yeah.
Scotty Boy, I find it's his consistency to always show up and be in chat and supportive. Noticed him in all the chat rooms actually. When
Yep.
people
Mhm.
This
have
is true.
shows, he's
And
always there.
Chloe.
He's all yeah, and
Chloe.
Chloe, and always
Mhm.
there live and supportive during the
Hmm.
shows.
Yep.
Yep.
I do watch them when I'm not, after,
Everyone
and
in chat.
I watch, and so I
Mhm.
Me
noticed that
too.
about Scotty Boy. No, I do see. Yes, I do. Can't
Oh,
miss it.
Dolly, I often ignore compliments. I don't hear it till it's too late.
You're aware of it, Dolly. You're aware
Yeah,
of it,
there
so
you
then
go.
you can
What's good
do
about it?
something about it. Start with
Mhm.
the little stuff. It turns into
Yeah.
big
Yes.
quickly.
Baby steps,
Yes.
and then pretty
Uh-huh.
soon you're walking, and the next thing you know, you're running, and the next thing you know, you're jumping. So,
And
yeah.
flying.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find that support. I'm sure, especially with a lot of people's families and things like that. That's tough. So you got to find a good soul tribe and hang with the people that really make you feel good and support you. And these people do. And I'm super grateful to all of these people that are in chat, and also the ones that are watching that don't chat, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'd like to say, just a thought come into the head because we're
sure,
talking about that,
yeah,
about the intuition thing. And
yeah,
if you learn and follow your intuition through practice and just trusting yourself and everything, then you'll find that your life and what manifests and creates is going to be much more positive than
yes,
leaving it to outside of yourself and outside your energetic bubble to
mm-hmm,
throw your power and control to the wind. So
mm-hmm,
once you trust, because that intuition is the direct connection to all your memories, your higher self, and all your what people call guides and everything. So,
mm-hmm,
and that's who you need to listen to first, and
mm-hmm.
not second guess all of the outside forces that are trying to that you would make you switch your mind to not a best or highest or best decision for yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what the second guessing does, is to put yourself second and
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
and not use your intuition. So the outcome's always not exactly then how you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in other words, yeah, I've discovered for myself that on major issues of great importance, it's usually my intuitive decisions that I've made that have turned out to be true. And knowing this means that in going forward into the future, I'm going to have to trust my intuition a lot more than I have been,
Hmm.
until uh, going forward. Definitely.
Scotty boy.
Yeah.
Love you,
I'll
man.
tell you.
Yeah.
He always does it right as
He's the
Dalibor.
comic
Right as
relief.
Dalibor is delivering something
Edification.
profound, Scotty Boy comes
I
up.
love it. As long
Yeah.
as, you know.
Yeah, Dolly. You
I
guys
wanna-
always make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Thank you. You are all
Right.
awesome. You make
You're
us feel
welcome.
warm and fuzzy inside. And that's what it's all
Absolutely.
about,
That's
you
what
guys.
we're here for.
Yep, you got
So,
it.
Karen, being a mediator, being somebody with some
Yeah.
legal background, not unlike myself with some things, what do you think of this? This saying here, this universal self-generated inner voice has an important role as mediator. Our inner voice mediates what we think, what we
Well,
say,
I
what
would
we
say,
do.
yeah, I would say that this universe has a tech support hotline, and that would be your intuition.
There you go. There you
Nice.
go.
I'm going to
That
check with
is
my text.
brilliant.
It's exactly it.
Great.
Let me check with the tech support real
Tech
quick.
support.
Intuition, what do you think?
It's 1-900.
Do I or don't I?
Go Sun Rabbit. That's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're
Very nice.
You're
love
right,
that.
Teresa. It is the mediator, and
Mhm.
as you learn and gain more power and energy, you learn to change time actually, so that when you're confronted with any kind of decision or anything, there's space for your mediator to look at everything and
Yeah.
ahead of time and make a correct or more positive decision. It's just not all of a sudden thrown at you, you're not aware of it, right? So
Right.
it's to gain that power of that space, and but so that your mediator can choose and step in and make the right decision for yourself there.
Yeah,
So it's
so
creating a
true.
space.
Good
Yeah, I
point.
think a lot of
Good
people
point.
are confused and think that we are our thoughts, but we are
Yeah.
not our thoughts.
Nope.
And our higher consciousness is an observer of our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It hears it out. It hears your, and then it helps you separate them out so that you can change that thought to manifest something different for yourself or to make a better choice. So
What
if
if
you
you
look at it as a
understood?
mediator and observer,
Yeah. What if you understood that the universe only knows yes? So anything you put out there, they're going to go,
Well,
okay, yes, you
your
got
Yeah,
it.
that's
subconscious only
exact,
knows yes.
Lori, that's exactly it. The
Mm-hmm.
reality or the simulation or
uh,
whatever you want to call it that
Yeah.
we're in
Mm-hmm.
will give you always exactly what you ask for. And
That's right.
that's why intent and focus is important.
that's
So
why-
it
watch
does.
your thoughts.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right.
because it does.
Watch
I,
It
your
gives you
I
what you
kept
want.
thinking I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be living out of my car. My animals are going to be taken. If I keep thinking that, it'll happen.
That's exactly
Mhm.
what will happen.
I'll
It'll
give you
become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I'll
Yeah.
give you
We'll
a
get to you,
really good
Sophia. Hang on.
I'll
Go
give you a
ahead.
really good example of how thoughts are things, and I'll never forget this. This made me realize it and be really careful about what I think about.
Okay.
I was working on a really important project that required a lot of concentration. It was summer, all the windows were open, and right at the most critical point, the neighbor decided that he wanted to start cutting the grass, and my thought that came to my head was, I wish that thing would just break. And that the instant I thought that thought, the lawnmower started going, boop, 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 and he never restarted it. He never restarted it. The thing ended up on the curb the
Mm,
next week. Okay, that's the
wow.
power of thought. I'll never
Wow.
forget that. It was in that instant that that thing died. Yeah,
Go ahead, Sophia. What were you going to say? That's funny, Dalibor.
yeah.
I like what Karen was saying about intuition. And there's something that I added to my playbook, metaphysical, spiritual playbook, whatever you want to call it. And when you're focusing your intention, leave room for spirit to move, because we see,
Mhm.
we peripheral vision, spirit sees always, all time.
Mhm. Right.
So when you put your intention out there, what I've thrown on the back of it, or something better, because my
I
idea
always
may be
ask that.
epic,
Yeah, I always say, or something better. Yes.
yeah, I mean, that gives them
Absolutely.
room.
Mm-hmm.
It's that way.
They're like,
it's something
oh
different.
boy,
Yeah,
okay, now we can really give it to them. No
yeah.
problem.
One
Great
thing
point.
that I had to
Yeah,
learn
good
was
point.
when something would happen, it's okay to take a second or a minute and process what happened instead of instantly reacting, because that's what we see on TV. Hollywood
Mhm.
doesn't know jack about diddle, and if they did,
Nope.
we would all be in a better place.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But I mean,
Absolutely.
and just talking to people that really care and not people that are just curious,
Yeah.
discerning, using
Genuine
your
people.
intuition to be
Mm-hmm.
like, is this friend or foe?
Mhm.
Instead of finding out the hard way 3 years later, going, well, that was a waste
Right.
of energy.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep.
But I love this conversation. I think this is doing us, the group, and those that watch it later, a
Absolutely.
huge service, because
Absolutely.
it's helping me, and I love you guys. I truly,
Oh, we love you too,
truly
Me too.
Sophia.
Oh,
You're the
What a
best.
blessing.
yes.
We love
Like
having
it
you.
cracks like.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
And it's a
you're-
Welcome
great
to the
feeling.
family.
Yeah,
Welcome to
it's
the family.
it's fantastic. Yep.
Yeah, you're the
That's
best.
excellent
A lot of
point.
support. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one last thing here. Is 10:13, but
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, okay, so every time I have seen certain members of this group do something for somebody else or step out on a limb, like for example, somebody goes to do something and you're like, my intuition's telling me I need to tell her or him that my guides are telling me, oh, no. Don't do it. Hold on. Time out. Let's rethink this. Think it through more clearly before you do that. Well, that's not our place to do that. However, we can't help ourselves because we want to help other people. But trusting your intuition means you're going to step up and take risks, even in interpersonal relationships with other people.
Yep.
You have to trust your instincts in your guides, what they're telling you, enough to be able to do something for somebody just out of love, out of your own heart. You want to do them a favor, or you want to give them a heads up or go, hey, you might want to think that, my friend. Because what I'm hearing right now is blah, blah. you know, and Lori does that with me, and it helps me flip my script. It helps take me down a different path. It turns out great every time.
There
That's
it
right.
is.
Yeah,
It's like
because
a freaking magician with a wand or
Yeah,
something. Well, she
because
does have a
Teresa,
wand.
you're
It's
exactly
called
right.
it's called
Because
reframing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
That's true, Dalivor. That's exactly
Mhm.
go
right.
ahead, Karen. What are you
no,
saying,
that's
Karen?
exactly right. Because, like you say, and with practice, right, you get used to using your
Yeah.
intuition,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that at first it throws you out of your comfort zone, like you said, because of your program scripts and patterns,
Yeah.
right? And the whole thing is breaking pattern, right? You need to break those patterns to and again, it's really, if you could see it, I'm going to say again, if you had the energy and the eyes to see and could shift and could see the actual pure energy, you would see your assemblage point being able to free from its set position
Right.
on
You
your
could break it.
aura,
You
you
could
know,
break
where
the
it sits in
code.
there, and yeah, that's
There
the
you
whole
go.
point of
Mhm.
breaking
The
shifting
human
and
code.
Our
yeah,
friend,
breaking
our
that.
friend Ann Tucker, whom you've met before, she's been on the show before.
Mhm.
Ann Tucker did her Friday channeling, and I shared that video with Lori earlier today. But in that video, Ann Tucker's guides, the council that she taps into, were saying to her that we've been here for a while now working on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And our main purpose is for self improvement and expansion. And as the energies are shifting, you know, the cosmic energies and the earth shifting, we're getting closer and closer to the point where we actually need now to be more unified as that conscious collective.
Mm-hmm.
And so people need to come out of that shell of just focusing on self.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing it. Don't disregard it, but step up a little bit more to bring unity,
Mhm.
to bring your thoughts, your lessons learned, your experience, knowledge, and wisdom to the conscious collective in any way you can. We use this show as a form of doing that. So does Robert, and so do others. But more and more unity is needed so that you can strengthen that whole group collective for this shift. But the key is trust.
Mm-hmm.
We need to learn how to trust one another.
Build it.
There's not enough trust, and we need to be more aggressively building that now than ever before. And that requires stepping outside of self long enough to be able to stick your nose out there and say, hey, you know, let's think about this. Take that risk. And which it also means that those of us who are on the receiving end have to learn to trust. It's okay for her to share that message with me right now. It's okay for him to tell me this right now. I'm going to trust that because he's trusting his guides.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you go around doing everything everybody else tells you to do. It's not about telling somebody what to do.
Mm-hmm. Just
It's
be
about
open.
being open to it, right, Lori?
Yeah, just be open to it. You
I would
know,
say
you got to remember too, we are a very young species. I mean, let's
Right.
look at the broader objective here. We're a young species. We're learning, and there are many alien species out there that look at the Palladians. Look at the ones that have gone through all of this, and they've ascended to a higher level, and that's what we're doing in this now. Is we're bringing the human race into a higher level of consciousness, and because we are infinite beings, and this is not going to stop. That's why I'm not afraid to die, because I know I'm just going to come back, and maybe not as a human, but I'll come back and redo all these lessons until I get them right. And when I get them right, I get to graduate. And I think that's exactly what the human race is doing right now. They're ascending, growing, learning, and then they'll take it.
I would
you
add.
see this comment. You see this comment from Truth Seeker.
Oh,
I
I
find
see
it hard to listen to Ann Tucker since she admitted taking the juice. There are a number of people in the spiritual community that made that choice for whatever reasons they felt they had to make that choice. And this is where this part about trusting comes into play. Her guides told her in her situation, she would be okay. Just like Jules said, hey, folks, if you're forced into it, don't worry. You can alchemize it.
Transmute it.
You can transmute it. It can have no effect on you. It can be the placebo type effect if you need it to be. So everybody has a choice to make. They have to trust that they're making that choice that serves their purpose for whatever reason they had to make the choice. See, so that's the part about the unity is being able to overlook those things, those things that are like, I wouldn't do something like that, and be able to embrace it instead. Say, okay, well, she trusted what was good for her at that time. I'm
And that's
trusting
her
what's
decision and her
and I'm
choice.
trusting my decision is not to.
And my choice
but
may
that
not be
doesn't
the
mean she
same.
doesn't have some good messages coming in
Right.
on
Right.
things. It
Yeah.
would be like me closing the door to Lori because there's something Lori doesn't like, a certain game or something that she plays, and I'm like, I don't like that game. So I'm going to shut Lori down because I don't like a game she plays. But everything else that comes through only helps to serve me and has been a connect. So you never know when you're going to connect with somebody on something or where you're going to hear something that you need to hear. So it's easier to keep the door open a little bit
And
allow
respect
those
other people's rights to make
right, and
their own
allow those
choices.
messages to come in that resonate with you.
Right.
Some will
Yeah.
and some won't.
Yeah.
I
That's
have
just
something real quick.
Yeah. Sophia, go ahead. Thanks, Teresa. That was a good point.
Yes, I agree with you completely. This is how I keep it simple because it's easy to overthink things like this. At least it is for me because I speak for myself. Trust is respect is given, trust is earned. And especially in this type of group, people that were talking about love, you need to put principles before personalities. Just because you have a disagreement does not give you the right to disrespect somebody. They just get a further boundary. And then over time, you can let them close to you and build the trust. And that's what I do with my guides is just because I get a message, I have to vet it first.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, is this for my highest and best? And what can I learn here?
Yeah.
But
Right.
trust, respect is given, trust is earned, and principles before personalities.
Good point.
Because your temper will wane.
Sure.
Pushing someone out of your circle before you really get to know them, you're just cutting your own nose off to spite your face doing that. That's not necessary. Have a conversation. Don't be a child.
I would say, okay, and this ties in with the whole intuition thing. It's also important to ignore all these distractions, and I would say that most of the things that are in the news are distractions because most of them are just simply made up fiction. Okay, fiction, and it's designed for entertainment purposes only, negative entertainment. So, and that holds true for most pop culture. Most video games, most of that stuff is just a distraction. It's designed to distract you from your true mission in life and from you realizing your highest potential. It's designed to keep you down.
Yeah. It's called the negative default programming.
Well, it is all in the way you use it too. It's all in the way that you use that. It's a tool as well. And I mean, you can sit there mindlessly in front of a TV or you can play a game that gets your brain going, gives you challenges, and makes life interesting when you have your free time and you want to be down.
No, and Truth Seeker, you made a valid point here. I've had this concern before about other teachers in different communities and different channels I've gone into. And I used to close the door, but then I realized only the people that are hearing what's being said can allow themselves to be misled. So if you already know that you're not going to be misled by something that somebody says that's not part of your gnosis, you get flick it off.
Yeah.
And you have to trust that other people that are hearing it are going to make that choice for themselves.
Absolutely.
But there might be 10 other things that the person is saying that really resonate and help you or might help other people. So just think about what I said. I'm not criticizing
nobody's
you in
picking
any way.
on you and nobody's criticizing you. We're
it's
just
an
using your example. Yes.
Of how you can keep the foot in the door and keep it open to let the good things in that resonate with you and serve your purpose versus just
don't close yourself off because of one thing.
One thing I do know is spirit source, the universe, uses people as catalysts. They use people in strange ways, people you wouldn't think of, or even some people channel. Who was it that was channeling Lilith? I mean, we got a
Pamela
totally
Erlin.
different perspective on Lilith today, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden something will hit you and go, whoa, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Have your own
but-
discernment. Make your own
Yeah.
decision.
right.
What's best for
Yeah.
you, what works for you. If something that someone else is doing isn't working for you, that's
Right.
okay. That's them. That's on them. You're
Right.
not worried about them. You're fully committed and concentrating on what your needs are and what you think is the best for you, and you just go with that
Take
Yeah.
what you can use and leave the
and
rest.
leave the
Right.
rest. You
Yep.
got it.
And
You
and
got it.
discernment is part of using your intuition, right?
That's right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
So,
There you go. Brother
Mhm.
Robert just said it. Thank
Yep.
you, Milky Way.
Nice.
Yep. Nice.
Mhm.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Any final thoughts here tonight?
This is a good
Final
talk.
thoughts.
Great
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
questions.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for the chat room for weighing in there and really
Mhm.
engaging
Guys.
in this discussion, because a lot of people are struggling with this right now. Of how do I know when to trust myself?
myself,
You know?
trust myself, and that gut feeling again that we started with, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
all those feelings, and you can tell from the feelings, and you start learning yourself, which ones for you work the best, and keep in mind, I want to mention one other thing about
Mhm.
the feeling that people get in their gut about being anxious or excited.
Mhm.
And that's basically the same feeling. It's just like, you get used to distinguishing, like when you're anxious about a big project or something, but it's usually for your better, for your good anyway. So being anxious and excited is kind of the same feeling.
Mhm. Yeah.
So don't
Feels
get
the same.
so don't get too
Mhm.
worried if you feel anxious, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it. Don't get
Breathe.
worried about it. Embrace it. Look at why you're anxious, and is it really anxious? Maybe
Mhm.
it's part of excitement or of something, because you're looking to the future and wondering how something's going to work out and how that
Mhm.
all is. So
Yeah.
really don't get just upset and freaked out about feeling anxious.
Mhm.
Sit and look
Yeah.
at it for a
Just
minute
trust and have
and,
faith.
and turn it into excitement.
Yeah.
Meditate.
And then
Yeah.
what?
Meditate.
Meditate.
Oh,
Meditate.
meditate.
Yeah.
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 Meditate,
drum.
meditate.
Well, there were
Something.
some tips in that opening video, so if you haven't seen it, play the opening video. There's some tips on there on how you can do some exercises. There's all kinds of self-help books and guides out there on exercises that you can do to help you build that sense of trust with your own intuition. So next week, folks, we're taking a break for Thanksgiving to be with family and friends. So we're going to play an encore, and it just happens to be our friend Jim and Sophia on Psychic Connections,
Mm-hmm.
Psychic Experiences. So that was a great show. I wasn't on it. I was sick, but everybody else was, and I really enjoyed watching it. So
Yeah.
it's going to be out there for you all to watch and enjoy. We hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving with your family and friends, whatever you do to celebrate it. I'll probably have a TV dinner again this year and then celebrate it later with my brother when he's back. But then the following week, we have a really good lineup going into December, which is going to be fantastic. We've got some good stuff coming up.
Yes.
So
Been working hard on it.
waiting for the trailer. It'll come out.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll know what's going on once we nail it down, because we have about 6 different ones we're working on right now to bring to you. So.
Fascinating
Awesome.
subjects. You're going to love this stuff. Yep.
Yeah. And now we're going to join our friend Matt Slozer on the paranormal channel. Laura and I are on the 4th. The 4th of December. So
that's my birthday.
Sunday night.
Oh,
Sunday
nice.
Night Dead, it's called.
Cool.
Sunday
You're a
Night
Sag.
Dead.
Yeah, baby, Team Sag.
My sister's
29
a Sag.
again.
I love Sages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Nice.
They're like this.
Well,
You
no.
said what? Prove it to me.
Let's put it this way, Sophie. You'll know astrology, so air and fire goes together really well, because air fans fire, so I fan fire.
Yeah.
I'm
go.
air.
Yes,
Air
you
and
are.
fire go. Air and
and
fire go good.
Right on.
Karen's going to be heading out in December, doing some traveling. So we wish her the best with travel safety.
Safe
and
travels.
protection. And,
Yep. You bet.
And she'll be in touch whenever she can and hook in whenever she can. We'll just leave it at that. But she's going to be flipping around out there in December. So, our heart is with you. Yeah, we'll see.
Sounds
Sometimes
good.
you get better reception in Colombia than you do.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then hopefully heading down south. come the new year. So I'm going to be heading
Nice.
down to probably Texas and beyond. So
All
we'll see.
right.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, see what happens.
Good.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
Dolly, we love Matt too, and we're
Mhm.
gonna have a
Great
wonderful
guy.
discussion with him. We have a
He's
great
cool.
show coming up with him
Yes,
next
we
Sunday.
do. It's going to be
Monday
fun.
night.
Yeah,
Ed.
very different
Yeah.
from what we normally do. So it'll be
Yeah.
fun being on his show and his topics. So
Yeah.
yeah, awesome.
Oh, and Nancy Matz said,
Yes.
"Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
She really enjoyed meeting us. She really enjoyed you all in the chat room,
yeah.
and wants to come back. She wants to join
I'd love
us
to have her
again.
back. Yeah, she's good
So,
people.
We're gonna have her on too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Bet.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
She really
so
synced with you
lots
guys
of
and
good
really-
things coming. Yep.
yeah.
For sure, for
Mhm.
sure.
Okay, I'll shut
All
up.
right, guys.
Okay.
Much love to everybody. Peace and serenity.
Wait, how do you do that, Sophia? My fingers hurt.
Pinky, index finger,
I'll
I'll just stick
Burns.
with this.
I love
Rock and
you.
roll. There you go.
Right.
Yes.
Nanu, nanu.
All right.
Nice.
Peace
get-
out, everybody.
So much trouble
Yeah.
here.
Later.
Bye now.
Love you all. Happy